Good evening, everyone. This is a demo Apttus CPQ training. So from this demo, you would be getting to know about what Apttus CPQ is and where do we use Apttus CPQ, and a briefing about how you configure price and quote to about any of our product and service. And also you will be getting know about what are the certifications and how the Salesforce knowledge is required for this training. So all those things would be briefing out in this end-to-end demo. So this is about a trainer. So as you can see, I have a 9+ years of ID experience on Salesforce and Apttus CPQ and Salesforce CPQ projects, where I have worked from providing, doing the development, the admin, the consulting, and end to end working with the business people and gathering the requirements. So I have got the complete exposure about all this part for working for the projects like Salesforce Apttus CPQ and Salesforce CPQ. And I've already trained so many people on Apttus CPQ managed package, and I have made them comfortable to use it, and they feel comfortable after getting the training, and then they can get into job and work on Apttus CPQ projects. And here are some certification which I have already achieved during my so far of career journey, like Apttus CPQ product modeling and pricing modeling, Velocity, if you have heard about, that is also one of our Salesforce based cloud, which also like industry, which also called as industry specific cloud, and Salesforce Sales Cloud certification, which is Sales Cloud, as you have heard about. So the CPQ is majorly on sales projects, where we use Apttus CPQ for sales projects. So it's better to have Salesforce Sales Cloud consultant certification, and rest of them are required, not much required. I'll tell you during the course what all certification are required for this Apttus CPQ training. So this is a scope of demo, what all would be demoed during this 30 minutes, but it is not like we can cover all the things, because there are a lot of things which would be discussed and explained during the course of training, because this each topic contains lot of conceptual knowledge and hands-on experience when you would be start working on a live project. So for that you have to have depth knowledge of each of this topic. CPQ overview, if I talk about, so CPQ stands for configure, price, and quote. All right, you must be aware about. If you are not, then I'm telling you, CPQ is configure, price, and quote. So where any of a product which need to be configured and then which need to be priced, and then we create a quote for that. So that is what Apttus CPQ has provided with the Apttus has provided with their managed package, which gets installed, and you would be very easily you can configure your product or either service, and then price them, and then create a code for your customers. So this is what CPQ is. And why we need CPQ? It's a good question, why we need CPQ. So before getting into why we need CPQ, why we need CPQ is like, if you are aware about Salesforce, so its CPQ is basically installed on a layer on top of Salesforce. All right. So Salesforce has provided a lot of things already, but when you go with Salesforce, so you need to have a lot of customization done to achieve your complex business functionalities. And if you want to override and go, and if you want any managed package which can easily provide you the capabilities instead of going for a lot of coding and programming, right? So that is where our CPQ managed package helps us. So they provide us a lot of out of box functionalities which can be directly used for your product and services configuration, pricing, and quotation part. So that is why we need any of a CPQ. We have so many CPQs like Apttus CPQ we have in the market, Salesforce CPQ we have in the market. All right, so that is what CPQ is required. And if you talk about lead to cash, so I would recommend before if you start this training, so side by side you could just uh, have some knowledge of lead, what are leads in Salesforce. So even though I would be explaining that during the course of training end to end to all the candidates, what actually leads are there in Salesforce, what how the leads are created in Salesforce, okay, how the lead to cash process is end to end. So that would be that more of a Salesforce part, which would be covered in after CPQ training as well. And here we have code to cache. So code to cache is a part of Apttus CPQ, purely a part of Apttus CPQ, which is here we are talking about Apttus CPQ. So it is a part of Apttus CPQ. So which is, after creating a code, how the cache gets created. Cache is nothing but the revenue. So this is what the end-to-end overview we would be discussing during course of training. And now let's come to the specific to Apttus. So we have Apttus product setup. So Apttus is nothing but, they have provided out of box capabilities where you would be able to create your product and configure. And there would be a lot of within function within steps involved, how you create and configure your product. So that all would be covered during the course of training. And going forward, we have Apttus proposal setup. In Apttus proposal setup, again, after the products are configured, so those would be, when we are creating a proposal for our client or customers, so they means we have to configure the products or either service or a product. Both are called product in Apttus CPQ language. Okay, if any of our services are there, like internet services or telephone services or any of other services, all are called as product in, if we comes here in terms of Apttus CPQ. Okay, those all are configured as a product. All are configured as a product because Apttus CPQ has provided such language. So we have to follow that. I already talked about Apttus proposal setup, where we see all the, how we can create a proposal and then configure a proposal, add products to it, do the pricing, and then finalize the proposal. And from there, we send it to the customer review. So this is what we will see in course of training. Again, types of Apttus products. So like we have different types of Apttus product. I could just briefly about, like we have standalone product, bundle within bundle. So how those are created, how those are configured. So all those things would be talked about and discussed during the course of training. So we have different types of Apttus products created in Apttus. And product modeling and pricing modeling, these two topics cover major of product configuration and pricing configuration, talking about different, all the what all the functionalities would be involved while while doing the product and pricing configuration end to end. And we have Apttus batch management. So this is nothing but the out of box some functionalities, which is out of box some, what you can say is these are the classes written at the back end already provided by the Apttus. So this just need to be whatever the, whatever the configuration or any configuration you have done, or pricing configuration, or any of a functionality you have developed with the out of box Apttus CPQ. So after doing that, to sync your changes so that your changes should affect, you need to run certain app Apttus provided batch classes, batch maintenance. This is nothing like you have to write a code for it. It is already been written. You have to just, have a knowledge of which batch job need to be run at what level. So that I would be explaining and discussing during the course of training. And again, we have Apttus constraint tool. Yes, so constraint rules are nothing but, there are certain types of constraint rule which is provided by Apttus CPQ, which is also out of box. And these rules are responsible for some, when you are suppose we already see on Amazon websites, right? When we add some product, so at the bottom this already shows some recommendations, right? So that is kind of that kind of, functionality is also provided by Apttus. We have different constraint rules like inclusion, exclusion, recommendation, and validation. Here what would be done if we have configured Apttus constraint rule of like inclusion. So whenever there would be certain products, suppose we have configured a product called desktop, and whenever we are buying a desktop, so some people prefer to buy a keyboard along with it, right? So that is how we can create a bundle products. And now if I talk about where, as soon as we are selecting buying a desktop, so automatically a keyboard would get added, like included. That is what called as inclusion. So that is how other constraint tools are also there. We will discuss all the things and how they are configured in detail in the during the course of training. And going forward, we have product catalog. So from catalog, how the product would be configured, like the category means there are a lot of step by steps processes involved to, after creating a product, that product need to be shown onto the catalog, where a user selects and do the pricing and discounting, all those things. So that part would be discussed, how the catalog would be looking when you, after you creating a product, how the product would be looking on the catalog. And here we have the shopping cart configuration. Okay, so on shopping cart configuration, there would be a lot of things like, means about the product. We would be having the pricing and the discounts. So how do you want to configure those? You can arrange the columns. You can make any of a column hide, and you can you want to add a particular column to be visible on the catalog shopping cart. And then the quantity, all those things would be there, whether you want to allow the quantity to be editable or not. All those things need to be done on a shopping cart configuration perspective. Okay, so that also would be discussed during the course of training in details. Hope this is making sense, what are the topics we have discussed. And this is very high level major topics, if you can say, I have written here in bullet points. But if we start, the course of training, there would be a lot of in detail topics, subtopics would be there for each of every of this topic you mentioned here. So it is not going to be very straightforward, but yeah, while you start the training, so I would be able to help you end to end and make you comfortable and understand each and every topic in detail. And lastly, we have a here like template administration. So template administration is nothing but, when the code is being created, when the code has been code is nothing but a proposal. When a proposal is created, and after creating a proposal, the proposal has been finalized, and after finalized it, so we have to send that to your to customer to review what all the products are added, and how the pricing is being done, what all the discounting has been done. So for that, what we have to do is we create a template. On the template is nothing but your a document, excel document, where you would be seeing all your products and services and their details. That would be there, and that can be sent to the customer for their review. And once they approve it, then the deal gets finalized. X author is nothing but, we were having word templates, and now we have excel templates. So so that is how, means like, before we used to get the word templates, but now we are having X author templates, excel templates. So that has been provided by, that has been known as a X author. So where, for that X author, we need to have a separate, what to call, plugin need to be installed onto your system for to get that thing enabled, and you need to have a licensed for X author to use the Excel version of documentation. And here is the course outline. And just that was the briefed about the briefing about each and every topic. But here it is, in depth or subtopics, or related topics related to each and every module is being written. So that would be covered during the course of training end to end. And this would be, after going through all this, then you would be able to understand and feel comfortable about Apttus CPQ knowledge. And we will also make you comfortable in showing how this are configured in a Apttus org, because Apttus org is not available like free on Apttus org is not a free resource, and but as a Salesforce, we get the Salesforce org. So I will be helping you out for that. These are the topics. As I already said, Apttus is nothing but a managed package which is being installed on top of Salesforce. All right. So at the back end, we would be using the Salesforce only. But what all Salesforce has provided that can be used while doing the Apttus CPQ end-to-end implementation. So for that, we need to have a bit of knowledge about Salesforce, at least Salesforce admin part. Whoever wants to get into administration and the consulting, not towards the development part, it's better to have these two, means about knowledge about Salesforce admin part and knowledge about Salesforce Sales Cloud. So that is also I would be taking care of. I would be helping out what all means what level of understanding you should have for Salesforce admin. Even if you don't have any of knowledge about Salesforce, you don't have any Salesforce background before coming to this training, then we will also help you out where you can start off. And some of the high level things I would be covering during the training, because that is required to understand after CPQ. And we will be helping out what you can do at your own space, so that you can be more pick up the after CPQ more quickly, and understand the things very easily. So and second thing is Sales Cloud knowledge is required, because Salesforce says majorly what we are doing here is we are creating a code for the customer. That means we are selling something, right? We are having either we are having some product, either we are having some services. So what would be doing with that? We would be selling those. That is why we are creating a code. We should have a Sales Cloud understanding. If we already have a Sales Cloud understanding, then it would be easy to understand what is account, then opportunity, and then a quote, and from quote we have a product. So how these all things are related, that would be that candidate would be easy to understand, and that also would be discussed during the training. So far so good, I think. Let's go ahead. This is like additional course resources for this is for Apttus. What all Apttus training, as a part of Apttus training, what all would be we would be discussing. And I would be providing one guide after the after the course completion. In that one guide, you would be having end-to-end knowledge of sales after CPQ, what all we would be discussing. So all those topics would be mentioned with details, and how, means everything would be there in that guide. That is what you can say, that is a collection of all that is provided by directly from Apttus. You won't get it on Google if you try to find that guide. So those are provided by Apttus. No, if you are already working on Apttus projects, then only you can get it. Otherwise, not. Okay, so that guide I would be sharing with all the candidate after the completion of the course, and we would be going through those what all things need to be discussed from those guide. I would be telling you. And secondly, here we have as Apttus CPQ org is not available for free, but I would tell you how you can create your Salesforce developer account. That is for free, and where you can create your account and then do your hands-on practice for Salesforce admin modules, because that Salesforce admin knowledge is also required and helpful for your future perspective when you start working on real-time projects. So there you would be needing Salesforce admin knowledge as well. So for that, I would be helping out and to create Salesforce org for all the candidates, and they can do their hands-on practice as per their own space during their free time whenever they feel comfortable after the training. And I would be providing some links and PDFs for Salesforce knowledge, which is required for Apttus to work on Apttus projects. So from there you can do your hands-on on a daily basis and follow reference those PDF for your knowledge. Projects. So here not much written about the project, because I would be when we would be doing the training. So there I will explain what all the projects, kind of projects you can get it, and how you will, how the Apttus CPQ would be helping to create, to configure and create the product and services, and then how the business people use after CPQ, and the projects knowledge about, briefing about how in a projects the after CPQ is being used. So that would be discussed during the course of what we need for this training has been written here. You can have a look on it. So this is, because as we would be having online sessions, and we would be, giving demos, so we would be sharing screen. So that is why we need it, all this. After, once the training is being completed, so what we are going to do is we are going to, if the students are interested, so that would be discussed after the course of completion. We would be, taking the mock interviews just to understand what are candidates understanding after, completion of training. Once the candidates are feeling comfortable and their knowledge, whatever we have, discussed and given the training on the major of the topics, so that would be done as per, candidate requirement. Trainers will also help them, with the important interview questions. The trainers are already experienced, 9 to 10 years of experience already into IT sector, and they have, given already interviews. So what need to be questioned and what need to be the answer for that particular questions. So some important questions would be discussed after, the completion of the training. So this is what would be helpful, and trainer candidate will feel comfortable after that training, and then there's mock interviews, so that, when they are facing the real interviews in the job, so they would be a little bit confident, and somewhat already known to questions, and they can answer them confidently. So this kind of session would be taken care based on candidate requirement. And certifications, primarily like Salesforce admin knowledge, which is, Salesforce admin knowledge is required. So this certification anyone can give a attempt, and they can just prepare. I will tell you the resources, what are the required resources from where you can prepare yourself for this certification. After completing a Salesforce admin certification, I would recommend to go for Apttus CPQ. So Salesforce admin knowledge is required, all right. So that would be really helpful to prepare your next certification. So after the Salesforce completion of Salesforce admin certification, you could a candidate can prepare for Apttus CPQ certification. Okay, all right. And after they complete these two certification, then probably they can plan it for your next certification like Sales Cloud consultant. So that would be a later point of time, but initially after the training, I would recommend them to go with Salesforce admin certification first, and for after CPQ after that. So thank you. Hope this demo was helpful to understand what the trainer, what the candidate would be getting the benefit of this training out after the completion of the course. Actually, this training would be very helpful for the student to get, and get confident to work on live projects, because the trainers are already working on after CPQ, Salesforce CPQ, and Velocity projects. So they are very trained and experienced people. So they would be able to help candidate. So yeah, that way they can get benefited, and along with after CPQ, trainer will also help the Salesforce, getting the Salesforce knowledge, which is also required for working on live projects. So this is what the just a brief demo, and once we start the training, you would be getting end-to-end understanding, and then everything would be demoed, and live scenarios would be discussed for candidate requirements. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for your time.